Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. The Internet's Rock and Spot Connection with the most recent installment of Building the Team. This week, in honor of Shazam, the 7th movie in the DC Extended Universe, we're doing 700 points, DC only. So, let's take a look at things, shall we? First off, we got ourselves a Justice League International team. Justice League International being, obviously, an international version of the Justice League. It was especially popular back in the mid '80s during the time that Keith Giffen was working on it. Another tongue-in-cheek version of the Justice League, and it actually worked during that time. And it also has some, at least one extraordinarily memorable moment. That being Batman punching Guy Gardner and knocking him out in one punch. All because Gardner was dumb enough to goad Batman into punching him, and even said he'd take off his ring. And yes, he did. He took off the Green Lantern ring, and almost like that, Batman had Guy laid out on the floor. Anyway, so let's get into the team, shall we? First off, we've got quite a few of the characters who are largely associated with the team overall. First of which, though, is Blue Beetle, Ted Kord version. And anyway, so Blue Beetle comes in at 50 points, has no team ability, but brings Justice League International, Super Buddies, and Scientist keywords to the table. Looking at the dial, we've got ourselves a click of stealth and some running shot, followed by some sidestep. About mid-dial or so, we've got a couple clicks of incapacitate. Defensively speaking, we've got combat reflexes, which gives way to a couple clicks of inertial deflection, which goes back to another couple clicks of combat reflexes. On damage, we get special power Resident Brain and Tech Genius. Blue Beetle can use enhancement. Blue Beetle can use perplex, but only to target friendly characters and can't modify damage values. Okay. So you get that for a couple clicks, followed by just regular enhancement, and then back to Resident Brain and Tech Genius. Next up, we've got another long-time member of the team, Ice. One of the numerous Ice-based DC characters. Seriously, DC's got like 20 Ice-based characters. I'm probably not even exaggerating by that much either. Anyway, Ice comes in at 64 points, has the JLA team ability, and also has the Deity, Global Guardians, Justice League, and Justice League International keywords, as well as the trait Unlikely Couple. When a friendly character named Guy Gardner is adjacent to Ice, they both modify their attack dice by +1, if not already modified by this effect. Because her and Guy were a thing. Anyways, looking at the dial, we open up with some running shot, which gives way to plasticity. On attack, we've got some incap to start with. Defensively speaking, we open up with barrier, which gives way to defend, and that is it. Next up, we've got the greatest hero you've never heard of, Booster Gold. Booster comes in at 70 points, has no team ability, brings the Celebrity, Future, Justice League International, Metropolis, and Super Buddies keywords to the table. Again, look at the dial. We open up with some running shot, which gives way to sidestep. On attack, we open up with energy explosion, which gives way to super strength. Defensively speaking, we open up with inertial deflection, which gives way to toughness. Then on damage, we open up with a special power stand back and watch a real hero, Beetle. Booster Gold can use probability control. He may use it additional time each turn if one of those uses targets himself or a friendly character named Blue Beetle. And after that, we give way to Empower. Next. Next up, we've got Fire. Fire comes in at 75 points and has the JLA team ability. She also has the Checkmate, Global Guardians, Justice League International, and Spy keywords, and the trait Fast Friends. When Fire carries a character named Ice that has no action tokens, Ice can be given a non-free action this turn. Okay, that's pretty good. Looking at the die, we open up with Running Shot. On attack, first off she has the Sharpshooter the Sharpshooter ability, meaning she can attack while adjacent to an opposing character. Even she may make ranged attacks while adjacent to an opposing character, and can even do so to target an opposing character, adjacent opposing character. But power-wise, we open up with some Energy Explosion, which gives away a poison. Defensively speaking, we've got some Energy Shield Deflection. Then on damage, we open up with the special power Fiery Form. When fire takes damage from a close combat attack, the attacker is dealt 1 unavoidable damage. After that, we get some ranged combat expert. Alrighty. Next up, we've got Skeets, who is basically Booster Gold's, to a degree, Booster Gold's robotic sidekick and Conscience. So Skeets comes in at 115 points. There are reasons for that, which we'll get into in a second. He has the Justice League International, he has the PD team ability, as well as the Justice League International, Future, and Robot keywords. We open up with a trait, Behold, the Metamorphosis of Mr. Mind, and that is why he's at 115 points. If Skeets is 35 points, he is KO'd when crossing the red KO line. If Skeets is up 115 points, he has the Monster keyword. So, he has the Monster keyword as well. So, we open up with a special power on Speed, the Headlines of 1,000 Years. Adjacent friendly characters modify their attack values by +1. If that character's named Booster Gold, modifies his attack value by +2 instead. After that, we got to click a sidestep, followed by a couple clicks of hypersonic speed. Then on attack, we open up with Incapacitate, followed by a few clicks of special attack power, Spinning Threads of the Phantom Zone. Skeets can use Penetrating Psychic Blast with a range value of 9. When he does, after action is resolved, give an action token to all hit targets. He can target 2 characters at once. Then on defense, we open up with he's got Indomitable. We open up with Energy Deflection, which gives way to Impervious. On damage, we open up with Enhancement, which gives way to the special damage power, I'm So Hungry I Could Eat a Universe. And stop click. Skeets has Colossal and can't be healed. And that's all. Honestly, though, why? The only reason one might want to heal from those is to get back up, to last longer. Anyway, moving on, we've got Guy Gardner. Everyone's favorite Green Lantern. Oh wait, no one's favorite Green Lantern. Okay, well, I'll be honest. He is some people's favorite Green Lantern. But he is everyone's favorite asshole of a Green Lantern. Anyway, Guy Gardner comes in at 120 points, has no team ability. Then we've got the Green Lantern Corps, Justice League International, and Warrior keywords. He has the Construct icon. While building your force, you may attach a construct to this character by paying its point cost. Give this character a power action and replace the construct with any other construct up to 2 points higher than the original construct. If this character has no action tokens and the new construct is a lower point value than the original construct, this is a free action instead. We'll get into the constructs after we've gone through the rest of the team. Anyway, so we got a trait. A Nut Your Mule, Fuzzy Blue Elf. During your first turn, Guy Gardner may use a carry ability to carry up to 8 characters, regardless of their combat symbols. Okay. So he can carry the Flyers as well as the Booster, Fire, Captain Atom can all be can all be carried by Guy, as well as Beetle, Ice, Lobo, and Skeets. Anyway, so we open up with... We do open up with... Right, yes. We open up with a special power on speed. Get in your face. Guy Gardner can use charge. Give Guy Gardner a move action. Yeah, a move action. And if he ends his move adjacent to an opposing character, the move action counts as a free action instead. And he uses Battle Fury until that character is KO'd. Okay, alright. That gives way to regular charge, which then gives way to sidestep. On attack, we open up with Precision Strike, which gives way to Quake. On defense, we open up with Invincible, which gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to Combat Reflexes. On damage, we open up with a special power, Will. Guy Gardner can use Willpower. When an opposing character targets Guy Gardner with Outwit or Perplex, roll a d6, and on a result of 4, 5, or 6, ignore that effect. And then that gives way to Close Combat Expert. Alrighty. Moving on, we've got Captain Atom, who was the basis for Dr. Manhattan in Watchmen. Seriously, he was. Anyway, Captain Atom comes in at 130 points, has the Justice League International, Soldier, and Super Buddies keywords. We open up on speed with Running Shot, which gives way to Charge, which then gives way to Earthbound Neutralized. Then on attack, we open up with Penetrating Psychic Blast, which gives way to Super Strength, which gives way to Poison. Defensively speaking, he's indomitable, so built-in willpower. He opens up with Invincible, which gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to Toughness. And then finally we have the special defense power, Containment Suit Rupture. Captain Atom can use Toughness. Captain Atom can use Regeneration as a free action, and the D6 roll can't be re-rolled. When he does, when the roll is a 1, deal 2 penetrating damage to each character within 3 squares of him, then KO Captain Atom. Not the best. Yeah, anyway. Then on damage, we open up with the special power, Superhuman Strategist. Captain Atom can use Enhancement and Leadership. Okay, that's always a plus. Then that gives way to Exploit Weakness. Always a plus as well. Finally, we have Lobo, the main man himself, the last Sarnian. So this Bastich comes in at 169 points, has no team ability, but has the Brute, Justice League International, and Legion keywords. Then we got a trait, Blah, Healing Factor, Blah. At the beginning of your turn, as a free action, you may heal Lobo of 1 damage. On speed, we open up with we've got Charge. On attack, we open up with a blank click, but that gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs, which then gives way to the special power, Lazy Dog. Lobo can use Flurry. Before the second attack, roll a d6. His damage value becomes the result -1 and is locked. Now, note that it says, it simply says roll a d6, not you may roll a d6. So, depending on his attack values at that point, you may want to just go with a singular attack. Defensively speaking, he's got an Indomitable, so built-in willpower, but we got Invulnerability, which gives way to Toughness. Then on damage, we open up with a special power, Hook, Line, and Massacre. Give Lobo a power action and choose an opposing character within 5 squares in the line of fire and roll a d6. If the d6 result is higher than the number of squares for that character, you may place that character in a square adjacent to Lobo. On any result, you may then make a close combat attack. That gives way to Probability Control, which then gives way to Close Combat Expert, which gives way to Exploit Weakness. Now, 2 things. One, we'll be using a alternate team ability for this, the Generation Lost one. Each character using the team ability, I pick a character, and each of them ignores hindering terrain when drawing a line of fire to that opposing character. And then we've got the constructs. So, since Guy Gardner can utilize constructs, well, we'll actually be using some of them. First off, we've got the crossbow. The crossbow allows Guy to use ranged combat expert. Next up, we've got catapult, which enables Guy to use telekinesis. Then there's scissors, which allows Guy to use exploit weakness. Nurse, which allows Guy to use regeneration. And finally, boxing glove, which allows Guy to use close combat expert. Anyways, moving on. Next up, we've got ourselves a Red Lantern team. We're going to open things up with Rancor. Rancor is was one of actually a few characters to be a Red Lantern from Earth. Anyway, he comes in at 75 points and has a Red Lantern core team ability. He opens up with Sidestep, which gives way to the special speed power Rage, which allows Rancor to use poison, and he also deals penetrating damage when using it. On attack, we open up with Telekinesis, which gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs. Defensively speaking, we open up with Barrier, which gives way to Combat Reflexes. And on damage, he opens up with special power Controlled Rage. Give Rancor a free action and choose one. Rancor can use Battle Fury and Blaze Claw's Fangs this turn, or Rancor can use Precision Strike this turn. Okay. That gives way to Ranged Combat Expert. Next up, we've got Hal Jordan, who briefly during the Rage of the Red Lantern story arc did get a red ring. Anyway, Hal comes in at 80 points and has the Red Lantern core team ability. He opens up on speed with Charge. On attack, we open up with Super Strength, which gives way to Rage, which, just like Rancor, Poison with penetrating damage. Defensively speaking, we open up with Combat Reflexes, which gives way to Super Senses. Then on damage, we open up with the special power Willful Rage. Hal Jordan and adjacent friendly characters with the Red Lantern core keyword can use Willpower. And then that gives way to Battle Fury. Alright, next up we've got Guy Gardner. Guy comes in at 88 points. He's got the Red Lantern core keyword. Anyway, on speed, we start off with Fury Unleashed. Guy Gardner can use Charge, Flurry, and Sidestep. That's pretty damn good. Then on attack, we open up with Precision Strike, which gives way to Rage. It gets same as Rancor and Hal, penetrating poison. That gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs. And on defense, we open up with well, first off, he's Indomitable. We open up with Toughness, which gives way to Combat Reflexes. As for damage, he opens up with Shape Change, which gives way to Exploit Weakness. Next up, we have Bleeze. Bleeze comes in at 125 points. Has the new Guardians and Red Lantern core keywords. You got a trait Focused Seductress. At the beginning of the game, choose an opposing character. Bleeze can use mind control, but only to target that character. If she is adjacent to that character, this use of mind control is a free action. Okay. Then on speed, we open up with Charge, which gives way to Flurry, which gives way to Earthbound Neutralized. On attack, we open up with Quake, which gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs. Defensively speaking, we open up with Invulnerability, which gives way to Toughness, which then gives way to Combat Reflexes. Then on damage, we open up with Rage, Self-Control Ritual, Penetrating Poison, and at the end of your turn, if no opposing character took damage from bleeds this turn, modify her defense value by +1 until your next turn. Okay, that gives way to Battle Fury. Next up, we've got Atrocitus, creator of the Red Lantern Corps. So Atrocitus comes in at 165 points, has the new Guardians and Red Lantern Corps keywords. We open up with Charge, which gives way to Flurry. On attack, we got Super Strength, which gives way to the special power Rage, Building, Penetrating Poison, and friendly characters with the Red Lantern Corps keyword that use Poison can use it to do 2 damage instead of 1 if they are adjacent to 2 opposing characters or fewer. That gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs. He is also Indomitable. Defensively begins with Impervious, which gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to Toughness. Then on damage, we open it up with the special power Blood Prophecy. Each time Atrocitus damages an opposing character, give him a Prophecy token. During an attack, Atrocitus can remove a Prophecy token to use Probability Control. He may use Probability Control this way up to 3 times per turn. Not bad. Then we've got Exploit Weakness, and then finally Battle Fury. And then the last member of the team we've got is Supergirl. No, this is not from one of the various alternate reality. Well, okay, now it technically is, but this was Supergirl was a member of the Red Lantern Corps in the primary during the New 52, and it wasn't some alternate version of her. It was the actual Supergirl. Anyway, Supergirl comes in at 160 points, which I think I misspoke on with the Atrocitus. 160, not 165. But yeah, she comes at 160 points. It has the Brute, Kryptonian, and Red Lantern Corps keywords. We open up with Charge, which is a Flurry, which gives way to Sidestep. Then we've got Super Strength, which gives way to Rage for a Lost Home. Penetrating Poison. She's Indomitable. And she opens up on defense with Invincible, which then gives way to Impervious, which gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to the special power Driven by Vengeance. Supergirl can use Combat Reflexes and Toughness. On damage, we open up with the special power Just Stay Down. When Supergirl hits an opposing character with a close combat attack, roll a d6 after actions resolve. On a 4, 5, or a 6, that character possesses Earthbound Neutralized until your next turn. Now, a perk of this is not just, neutralizing a flyer, but also somebody with, say, Sharpshooter or Indomitable. Basically anything that isn't a standard ability. Just Stay Down gives way to Exploit Weakness. And that is the Red Lantern team. Next up, we've got ourselves an Outsiders team. So who exactly are the Outsiders? The Outsiders, aside from being a classic novel by pretty much all read in school, the Outsiders are a team that Batman formed as kind of a means to get things done outside of the Justice League. So it's had various lineups, but yeah. Anyway, starting off, we've got Halo. And Halo comes in at 83 points and has the Outsiders team ability. which allows for a targeted opposing character within range and line of. Or it used to be within 10 squares. I'm pretty sure that's actually changed, but so they have to be within line of fire and a specific range. That character cannot have their combat values modified. So, no perplex, no energy shield deflection, no combat reflexes. Anywho, also no enhancement or power, but only on that character. Like if they've got enhancement or power, they can still use it, but since it doesn't affect them, they can still. But yeah. Anyway, so Halo comes in at 83 points and has the Outsider's team ability and the Outsider's keyword. We open up on speed with running shot. On attack, we open up with telekinesis, which gives way to the special power Red Aura. Halo can use energy explosion. When she does, if the attack roll is doubles, hit characters are given an action token. Okay. That gives way to pulse wave. And then on defense, we've got energy shield deflection, which gives way to super senses. And then finally, we've got she clicks into ranged combat expert on damage. Next up, we've got Black Lightning, who will quite likely be the subject of a old and busted versus new hotness video in the near future. Anyway, Black Lightning comes in at 87 points, has the Outsider's team ability, and has the Justice League, Metropolis, Outsiders, and Politician keywords. Looking at the dial, we open up with Running Shot, which gives way to charge. On attack, we open up with the special power Chain Lightning. Black Lightning can use energy explosion, incapacitate, and penetrating psychic blast. When he does when he uses incapacitate, he can use the sharpshooter ability and has 3 targets. All right, that's very not bad. That gives way to pulse wave. On defense, we open up with willpower. That gives way to energy shield deflection. And on damage, sometimes we really cannot. He clicks into exploit weakness. Next up, we've got Black Lightning's daughter, Thunder. Thunder comes in at 92 points and has the Outsider's team ability as well as the Outsider's keyword. And when she opens up with charge, on attack we've got the special power Shatter Stomp. Thunder can use Quake. When she does, after actions resolve, she may destroy up to 3 adjacent squares of blocking terrain. Okay. Defensively speaking, we open up with Impervious, which gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to Toughness. Then on damage, she clicks into Close Combat Expert. Alright, moving on, we've got Batman. Anyway, Batman comes in at 120 points, has the Batman Ally and Outsiders keywords, or team abilities. Then we've got the Batman Family, Gotham City, Outsiders, Detective, and Martial Artist keywords, as well as improved movement ignores elevated terrain and hindering terrain. Finally, we have a trait. My team to handle what the League won't. Once per turn, when a friendly character within 6 squares uses the Outsider's team ability, that character can immediately use Outwit, but only to target the opposing character targeted for the Outsider's team ability. Okay. That would especially be good against someone with, say, both a, something like energy shield deflection or combat reflexes, as well as shape change. And you'd be like, well, Outsider's team ability, no mods on your combat values, and even better, out with your shape change. So, anyway, looking at the dial, we open up with 3 clicks of Running Shot, followed by 3 clicks of Charge. A full dial of the special attack power, Analytical Mind, and Utility Belt. Give Batman a free action and choose one. Energy Explosion, Force Blast, Incapacitate, Precision Strike, or Willpower. Batman can use the chosen power until he chooses again. Okay. Defensively speaking, we've got 3 clicks of toughness followed by 3 clicks of combat reflexes. On damage, we've got a couple clicks of leadership. Not too shabby. And I can't believe I actually did that. Oh. You hate when you have the dumb. I swear. Cerebral flashlights. Okay. Next up, we've got Grace, who at least was Thunder's girlfriend. Not sure if they're all back in the DCU or not since Rebirth, but yeah. Anyway, so Grace comes in at 125 points and has the Outsider's team ability. Then we've got the Amazon and Outsider's keywords as well. Finally, we got a trait, I'll take the big guy. After a move action, Grace is given resolves. She may make a close attack targeting an adjacent higher point opposing character. Okay. The downside is no one on the team's got the power to pump up her. Well, okay, she's already starting it. She's coming in at 4 damage, so yeah. Anyway, let's get to the dial. She opens up with a couple clicks of charge, followed by a couple clicks of leap climb, followed by a couple clicks of sidestep. On attack, we got 4 clicks of super strength, followed by a couple clicks of quake. Also, her attack rate does not drop below 10. Defensively speaking, she's got Indomitable. Starts off with a click of Invincible, followed by a few clicks of Impervious, followed by a couple of clicks of Invulnerability. And then on damage, she opens up blank, but clicks into 4 clicks of Close Combat Expert. That's not half bad in the slightest. Alrighty, next up we've got Jade. Now Jade was designed to potentially have your used constructs like Guy Gardner. However, there's not enough points on this team to cram a construct in, so she's not using constructs. But yeah, she has the construct ability, same as Guy Gardner. Anyway, comes at 151 points, has the Outsider's team ability. She also has the Green Lantern Corps, Justice League, Justice Society, and Outsiders keywords. And as well as improved targeting ignores hindering terrain. And the trait, My Family Legacy. When Jade targets a character in hindering terrain with attack, Jade modifies her attack value by +1, and the target can't use stealth this turn. Okay. There's your stealth buster right there, then. She is a flying transport, so she can use the move. Not only can she carry friendly characters, but she can also use the move and attack ability. And we got 3 people she can carry easily. Or is it 4? Yeah, that's 4. Oh, no, 4. Yeah, 4 that she can carry. And if she had the Green Lantern Corps team ability, that would be even better. Because then she just carry all 4 of them at once. But anyway, we open up with a running shot on speed, followed by phasing teleport. Then on attack, we open up with energy explosion, which gives way to incapacitate, which gives way to pulse wave. On defense, we open up with invulnerability, which gives way to toughness, which gives way to inertial deflection. Damage, we open up with a special power will. She can use. It's the same as the one that Guy Gardner has. Willpower. Um, she can ignore opposing perplex or outwit on a 4, 5, or 6 roll on a d6. And then will gives way to perplex. And then, finally, we've got Geoforce. So, Geoforce comes in at 160 points. He's got the Outsiders team ability as well as the Justice League, Outsiders, Politician, and Ruler keywords. Then we've got the trait Lord of the Land. Geoforce can use Barrier, but only as a free action, and only to place one barrier marker. These markers are not removed at the beginning of his turn. After action resolve, if the map has more than 4 such markers, remove one of them. Now, personally, I think that this figure could have been done better, especially with the fact that Joker's Wild had a lot of removable elements for characters, or had some removable elements to basically get, or not removable elements, but clicks effects. I figured they could have given him one that to represent a barrier square, but oh well. Anyway, looking at the dial, we open up with a couple clicks of Running Shot, followed by 3 clicks of the special power Lava Jet Bursts. Geoforce can use Charge, Force Blast, and Improved Movement ignores and destroys blocking terrain. Okay. That gives way to Earthbound Neutralized. On attack, we open up with Penetrating Psychic Blast, which gives way to Super Strength, which then gives way to Quake. Defensively speaking, we open up with Impervious, which gives way to Toughness, which then gives way to Regeneration. Then on damage, we open up with a couple clicks of Leadership, which at the end, and then gives way to, at the very end of the dial, a couple clicks of Close Combat Expert. Okay, that is the Outsiders. Finally, we've got one more team. The Sinestro Corps. So the Sinestro Corps was formed by, well, Sinestro to combat the Green Lantern Corps, at that point returned Green Lantern Corps. So he recruited those who inspire fear from throughout the universe, and in fact almost recruited Batman. Almost. Anyway, so let's get started, shall we? Coming in at 115 points, we've got Bedovian. Bedovian is the Sinestro Corps sniper. And well, he can target people from across 3 sectors. That's 3 sectors of space, mind you. So, we open up with a special speed power. Did that rock just blink? When it isn't your turn and no other characters are within 2 squares of Bedovian, lines of fire to him are blocked. Okay. That gives way to Stealth. Then, on attack, he's got the Sharpshooter ability. So, again, he can make range attacks out of adjacency. And targeting adjacent characters, no less. He also got Precision Strike. On defense, we've got some Invulnerability, which gives way to Inertial Deflection. On damage, we've got Ranged Combat Expert, which then gives way to the special power Fear. Bedovian can use Perplex, but only to decrease combat values. Okay. Next up, we've got Mongol. Mongol actually briefly tried to take over the Sinestro Corps, while Sinestro himself was imprisoned, or was being imprisoned by the Green Lantern and the Guardians of the Universe. Anyway, Mongol comes in at 165 points, has the Brute, Ruler, and Sinestro Corps keywords. Then we have this, we open up with a trait, Thrall of the Black Mercy. When a character with a Black Mercy token would have one or more action tokens removed, remove the Black Mercy token instead. Give Mongol a free action, make a close or ranged combat attack, targeting an opposing character with a Black Mercy token, regardless of range or line of fire. If he hasn't already attacked that character this turn. Then we open up with the dial opens up with Charge, followed by Flurry. On attack, we got Super Strength, followed by Black Mercy's Bite. Mongol can use Incapacitate. When he hit characters are also given a Black Mercy token if they don't already have one. Defensively speaking, he's got Indomitable and Impervious, followed by Invulnerability, followed by Toughness. Then on damage, he opens up with Fear, Hopeless. Mongol can use Perplex, but only to decrease combat values. When he does, also modify the target's attack value by -1 until your next turn. Okay. That gives way to Close Combat Expert. Next up, we've got Arkillo. Arkillo was the drill sergeant, so to speak, of the Sinestro Corps. And when Mongol took over, Arkillo challenged him and lost, and had his tongue ripped out. Anyway, Mongol comes in at 170 points, has the new Guardians and Sinestro Corps keywords. Then on speed, we open up with the special power Brawler. Arkillo can use Charge or Flurry. This gives way to Charge, which then gives way to Flurry. Then on attack, we open up with the special power Whip them into shape, literally. Once per turn per character, friendly characters with Sinestro Corps keyword and 2 action tokens may be given an action as a free action and, after action resolved, deal that character 1 unavoidable damage. Okay. That gives way to Blaze Claw's Fangs. On defense, we open up with Invincible, which then gives way to Invulnerability, which gives way to Willpower. On damage, we open with Fear, Spreading. Arkillo can use Perplex, but only to decrease combat values. When a friendly character with the Sinestro Corps keyword uses Perplex, modify its range value by +3. Oof. Now keep in mind, it simply says when a friendly character, not when another friendly character. So when Arkillo uses Perplex, which Perplex has a minimum range of 6. So 6, then 3. So he gets a 9 range on that. Then just replace, then modify. Anyways, Fear Spreading gives way to Empower. Okay. And finally, we have Parallax. Hal Jordan. This is when Hal Jordan went evil back in the 90s. And as Parallax has been revealed to be the entity of fear and kind of the mascot of the Sinestro Corps, when Hal became Parallax, is now considered to be part of the Sinestro Corps as well. So, he comes in at 250 points, has Quintessence team ability, so he cannot be out. That gives him willpower, and he cannot be outwitted. Then he's got the Coast City, Cosmic, Green Lantern Corps, and Sinestro Corps keywords. Finally, we have a trait, the Death of Coast City. When an action resolves during which a square of blocking terrain was destroyed, remove an action token from Parallax or an adjacent friendly character that shares a keyword with him. Okay. And so we open up with Running Shot, which gives way to Phasing Teleport, which gives way to Hypersonic Speed. Then on attack, we open up with Pulse Wave, which gives way to Penetrating Psychic Blast, which then gives way to Fear, that all your power can't bring it back. Parallax can use Perplex, but only to decrease combat values. When a character with a combat value modified by this power misses with an attack, deal it 1 penetrating damage. Then on defense, we open up with Impervious, which gives way to Vulnerability, which then gives way to Toughness. And finally, Initial Deflection. Then on damage, we open up with Probability Control, which gives way to Outwit, which then gives way to Ranged Combat Expert. And that is this week's potential teams. Which one we use, we'll find out. As for last week, we ended up going with the Suicide Squad. It did, better than expected against a team that was sporting a Colossal, but not so well against another Sinister Syndicate team. Anywho, that's all for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Comment if you feel like it. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I put new content. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, and Patreon are in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.